Good morning children, welcome to Gurukul Vidyalaya online classes. So in the ninth class, previously we have discussed one chapter, chemistry topic, chemical reactions and equations, and now we are going to discuss about the chemistry topic, is matter pure? Is matter pure? So what is meant by matter? The first thing is, what is meant by matter? We can say matter means it is made up of tiny particles. Matter is made up of tiny particles. So small particles, when they are combined, we call it as a matter. So matter is made up of tiny particles. So one thing, just you make it understand, and you think about this. You might have gone to the market with your parents. Suppose you went to market with your parents to purchase rice, salt, milk or ghee, some other utensils or some other material, food material you are purchasing. So after coming to the home or while purchasing, will you ensure that is that material pure? For example, if you are purchasing the ghee, will you think about that ghee? Is it a pure or impure one? Or salt or rice? By touching that one we'll observe. So here what is meant by the word pure? Generally in our day-to-day language we use this word pure. Pure means something without any without any adulteration. So pure means something with no adulteration is called pure. So nothing will be mixed or combined with that. For example, milk is there. Pure milk, when you say, if you are getting only milk, we will say it is a pure milk. But if you mix half liter milk and half liter water, can you say it is a pure milk? In general. So, but in the subject, what we have to understand about the word pure in the chemistry. The chemistry, what is meant the word pure? Okay, so understand that in your textbook you can check that one. You can observe activity 1 is there. Is full cream pure? Is full cream pure? So, how to get the cream? Take some milk in the vessel, just spin it with a milk churner for some time. Do you know churner? People will do no in the milk with that, they will do like this. Then what will happen inside the mix in milk? It will fully churning. So what we will get after doing some time like that? You observe separation of some paste like solid material coming out from that milk. So will you get like that after churning the milk? Yes, we will get. It contains one component in it, more than one component in it. Okay, that paste. So it is therefore a mixture. What we call that one? It is a mixture. So we have already studied in the previous classes about the mixture. What is meant by mixture? If many things are combined with each other, we can call it as a mixture. So here churning means churning of the milk. Churning makes the lighter components to come to the surface. So how we will get the paste in this? So while we are churning the milk in the one container, with the churner, if you are doing like that, after some time what happens? The lighter particles will settle down in the container, and the heavier particles settle down in the container, and the lighter particles they they will go outside. So by that we can say it is the lighter particles will go and touch to the walls of the container. So by that we will take that paste as a paste. It is light in weight, but the heavier thing they will settle down at the bottom. So that process is called as centrifugation. What is that? Centrifugation. So to understand the centrifugation, generally people in the laboratory they will use. Nowadays for COVID test they are doing no COVID-19 tests to test for that one, whether it is positive or negative. So what they will do, they will use this centrifugation machine. That centrifugation machine will contain some holders inside it, so to fix the test tubes in the holders, to put the test tube in the holder. So when they switch after closing the cap, the test tubes are filled with some samples of blood like that. They will add with some chemicals to that. So two samples, and they will switch on that one. Then it will rotate like this. When it is rotating, what will happen? The heavier particles will settle down and lighter particles will go to the walls of the test tube. So that by that they will take that things which will settle down, we call it as a residue, and which will touch to the walls, that is a precipitate. We call it as a precipitate. Okay, so and filtration, after filtering that one, they will get filtrate also. So by that they will take some liquid and some solid to do the test. So that is about centrifugation. So now what is a mixture? Many things that we call pure are actually mixtures of different substances. But what we are saying now pure, that is a mixture of different substances. How can you understand that one? To understand that we have to learn about the two things. That is mixtures are in two groups. One is the matter is around us are in two groups. One is mixture and the another one is pure substances. Mixture and the another one is pure substance. For example, whichever part of a pure gold biscuit is taken as a sample, the components is found to be same throughout. So for example, if you take one gold biscuit, any sample if you take from collect from that gold biscuit as a sample, throughout the gold biscuit it will be the pure only, no, it will be the gold only, but the mixtures are not always the homogeneous. The mixtures are always not always the homogeneous. Here about two things we have to discuss. One is homogeneous and heterogeneous. Homogeneous mixtures and heterogeneous mixtures. So first about the homogeneous mixtures we have to discuss. Suppose if you take two test tubes. In the test tubes, add 1 teaspoon of salt in one test tube, and in the same way in both the test tubes we will add one teaspoon of salt. Add in one test tube with water and in another test tube with kerosene. So if you shake well those both test tubes, what we will observe? In the first test tube, what are the contents? Water is there and salt is there. So after shaking that for some time, if you observe that one, what we'll observe? We'll find that the salt is mixed into the water. Salt is mixed into the water and it is a salt solution. So can you observe the salt and water separately in that? No. So these type, but it is a mixture. So this type of thing is we call as a homogeneous mixture. And what about the heterogeneous mixture? So in the second test tube you add some salt and kerosene, no? So that kerosene, will the salt dissolve in the kerosene? So if you observe that one, we won't get the combined thing there. So it is the heterogeneous mixture. So it is the heterogeneous, as they are not completely distributing the particles into each other. But here in the homogeneous, salt and water completely dissolving. That means the solid particles have no space between the particles. But in the liquid, there is some space between the molecules. So these solid particles will adjust into the space between the liquid particles and they will be as a mixture, homogeneous mixture. So for another example, if you take a glass of water, some lemon juice if you squeeze into the glass of water, some salt if you add in that, mix that one, we'll get a lemonade. We'll drink it. We are interested to drink that one. We like that one. So can you find there 3 particles in the lemonade? We can't separate them no, after mixing them. So it is a homogeneous mixture. Okay, some juices are there. Juice or fruit juice. Those we call as a homogeneous mixtures. As the particles of the lemon juice or particles of the sugar or salt, whatever we like, and the water molecules, everything, when all those are combined together, what will happen? They are homogeneous mixture. And for heterogeneous, already we discussed one thing, that is salt in kerosene. That is one of the example. And another example is oil in vinegar. Vinegar we use in home. No? If you add oil in that, they won't mix it together. It is a heterogeneous mixture. We call it as a mixture, but the particles will not distribute commonly in them. So we call them as a heterogeneous mixture. And naphthalene ball and water. Take one glass of water, add one naphthalene ball, stir it. Will it dissolve? No. It is a heterogeneous mixture. We call it as a heterogeneous mixtures. Now the second topic is about this is about mixture. The mixtures are two types, homogeneous and heterogeneous. And now we are discussing about solutions. So what do you mean by a solution? So already we discussed, if you add salt into the water, it is a salt solution. Lemon juice into the water, lemon juice as a solution. Sugar in the water, sugar solution. So we are adding that one. So we will get the solution. Whereas they will mix together and it is a solution. But what we are adding, the two contains what we call them. So one is in the solution, one is solvent, and another one is solute. One is solvent and the second one is solute. When solvent and solute are combined together, we will get a solution. But what is solvent, what is solute? For example, if you take sugar solution is there. In that one is sugar and another is water. So when we mix the sugar and water, we will get sugar solution. So what is sugar, what is water here? That means in those two, one is solvent, one is solute. So we can say the solvent is water. Water is a solvent and sugar is a solute. Water is solvent and sugar is a solute. So what is solute? The substance which will be dissolved into the other thing. The substance which is dissolving in the other substance. That is solute. And what is solvent? The substance which makes the other substance to dissolve. The substance which makes the other substance to dissolve, that is solvent. Is it clear, children? Solute plus solvent is a solution. Solute and solvent together called as a solution. What is solute? Sugar. Sugar will dissolve in the water, solvent. Sugar is dissolving in the water. So it is a solute. And water. Water is a solvent we call. Why? Because it is making the sugar to dissolve in that. Water is making the sugar to dissolve in that water. So that's why it is a solvent. So simply to understand, to keep in our mind. Check here. In a sugar solution, just think about the quantities you are adding into the glass. In the glass full of water, for example 200 ml water we are taking in the glass. How much sugar you will add? 1 or 2 spoons you will add sugar. So which is in more quantity? Sugar is in more quantity or water is in more quantity? Yes, water is in more quantity. Sugar is in less quantity. So the substance which is in less quantity is solute, and the substance which is in more quantity is solvent. Is it clear? The substance which is in less quantity is solute which is in more quantity is solvent. Is it clear, children? And very simply to understand, the word solute is small word, the word solvent is big word. So solute, sugar, small quantity, less quantity we are adding sugar, small word. So solute. More water we are adding, solvent word also more, big one. So solvent is water. Is it clear now? How can you keep in our mind which is solute, which is solvent? You understand? So in the sugar solution, sugar is solute, water is solvent. So this is about the solution. So solution means not only sugar solution. In the place of sugar, if you take salt, we will get a salt solution. In the place of this solute and solvent, sugar and water, if you take for example alcohol and iodine. So tincture of iodine if you take into the alcohol. So iodine is a solute and alcohol is a solvent. As alcohol we are taking more quantity. Small amount of iodine we are taking, it is a solute. And another thing, so like that you can think of some examples also, and in your textbook also you will observe some things. And now the properties of a solution. Now we have to discuss about the properties. So in a solution the particles are so small in size that we cannot see them with our naked eyes. So in the solution, after the solution, can you observe or identify any particles in that glass of sugar solution? Sugar water or any lemonade. Can you observe the small particles in that? No. Why? Because the particles which are involved in that, those are very small in size. Even we cannot see with our naked eye. We can't see with our naked eyes. Okay, by using any microscope only we can observe the particles involved in that, which are placed in the solution. So they do not scatter a beam of light passing through the solution. So that glass of water, sugar solution, if you take, if you put one torchlight in front of that, if you project a beam of light into the glass of water, will the light rays pass to the other side? So it won't pass to the other side, as they are particles involved in that, arranged in that, small particles. But we can't see with our naked eye, no? So the light rays will not scatter to the other side of that substance. Okay? So that is about the property of the solution. Now another thing is the concentration of a solution. Next thing is concentration. What is meant by concentration? Concentration of a solution. What is meant by concentration? Concentration means it is the power of that substance. Power. To understand that, the amount of solute present in a saturated solution at certain temperature is called a solubility. So here, to understand about the concentration of solution, we have to know about the solubility. What is meant by solubility? Solubility means the amount of solute present in that solution at certain temperature to dissolve in that. So that is about solubility. So now to understand the solution as it is a saturated or unsaturated. So by that we can understand. So first to know the concentration of solution, suppose if you take for example 1 gram of sugar and add 50 ml of water to it. So in glass if you take 50 ml water, add 1 gram sugar in that. Okay. And in another side take 30 grams of sugar and add 50 ml of water. Here 1 gram sugar, 1 gram sugar you will take 50 ml water. Sugar 1 gram, water 50 ml. Okay, in other side 30 grams sugar, same 50 ml of water. So after this we will get a solution. After adding this we will get one solution. So which will be more sweet in these two? This or this one? In 50 ml water 1 gram sugar will be more sweet, and in 50 ml water 30 gram sugar is more sweet. We can say here it is the more having more sweet. So if more sweet is there, can you say it is a more concentration solution? Yes, we can say it is more concentrated solution. So is it clear, children, to understand which is concentrated and which is diluted? So other side we call it as a diluted. It is a diluted, it is a concentrated. It is a concentrated. So here less sweet will have. So can you make this concentrated as a dilute? Yes, we can make. How can we make this concentrated solution into dilution? Just we add another 50 ml water to that one. Add another 50 ml water to that. So in 100 ml, what will happen? Previously how much sweet it is there, now it won't be that much sweet. Next you add another 50 ml water. So like that, if you add some water, but the sugar is same, so it will be diluted. That much sweet we won't absorb now after adding 250 ml of water. Yes, so that is. So can you make this one as concentrated? Now if we add here instead of 1 gram 1 kg, no need 1 kg not. Suppose 50 grams if we add 50 grams of sugar in 50 ml of water, it will be sweet then. So we can see it is concentrated. So the dilute is converted into concentrate. So this is about the dilution and the concentration of a solution. Now we can think about the saturated and unsaturated solutions. Saturated and unsaturated solution. When if you take 1 cup of tea and add some sugar in that, or water, anything, a cup of water, and add some sugar in that, stir it. What will happen? 1 spoon sugar if you add, it will dissolve. Next again if you add another spoon of sugar, it will dissolve. Again another. Until then, if you add sugar and stir it, it will dissolve. So it is a sugar solution. But when no more solute can be dissolved in the solution at a certain temperature, it is said to be a saturated solution. So do you understand what is saturated? Cup or glass of water if you take and adding sugar, stirring it, it will dissolve. Until it will dissolve if you add the sugar. Whenever it is, we cannot add more sugar to dissolve in it. When no more solute, that means sugar, can be dissolved in the solution at certain temperature, then it is a saturated solution. So is it clear, children? We can call it as a saturated solution. If the amount of solute present in solution is less than the saturated solution, then it is unsaturated. If the amount of solute present in the saturated solution, then we call it as an unsaturated solution. So if when we are adding, it is dissolving in the water, we can say simply it as unsaturated. Saturated means in that we cannot add more sugar to dissolve in that. It won't dissolve. So that is saturated solution. Okay. Now factors affecting the rate of dissolving. So to understand the factors affecting the rate of dissolving, here we have to understand. Already we discussed about the dilution and concentration. No? So again listen. If the amount of solute present is little, the solution is said to be dilute. The amount of solute is little, it is dilute. And if the amount of solute present is more, in the solvent, then it is the concentrated. Then it is a concentrated. So here two properties are there to understand or to calculate how much amount of solubility is there. So to express the concentration of the solution, there are two ways. One is mass percentage of the solute. Mass percentage of solute is equal to mass percentage of solute is equal to mass of solute by mass of solution. So I will write here. See, mass percentage of solute is equal to mass of solute by mass of solution into 100. Mass of solute by mass of solution into 100. This is one of the way to calculate the mass percentage of a solute. So now mass by volume percentage. Second one is mass by volume percentage equal to mass of solute by volume of solution into 100. So is it clear? Mass percentage of a solute is equal to mass of solute by mass of solution into 100. Mass by volume percentage of a solute is equal to of solution is equal to mass of solute by volume of solution. Mass of solute by volume of solution. So by these two ways we can calculate the percentage, mass percentage and mass by volume percentage of the solution. So here one example is there. Let us try to understand that example. See, look into your textbooks, children. Example 1. A solution contains 50 gram of common salt in 200 gram of water. So one solution is there. It is having 50 grams of salt and 200 gram of water. Calculate the concentration in terms of mass by mass percentage. So now mass by mass percentage, that is the first formula we have to use. So before calculating that, just let us write that one data. Mass of solute, how much given? Mass of solute is 50 grams, and mass of solvent equal to 200 grams. Mass of solvent is equal to 200 grams. Now what about the mass of solution? Mass of solution equal to, mass of solution means adding the solute and solvent only, no? Mass of solute plus mass of solvent. So how much? 50 plus 200 equal to 250 grams. 250 grams. Now coming to the formula, mass by mass percentage. Mass by mass percentage of solute is equal to, what is the formula? Mass of solute by mass of solution into 100. So what is the mass of solute? 50 grams. 50 by, what is the mass of solution? 250 grams. 250 into 100. Okay. Now 0 cancel. 25 in 100 4 times. 4 5s 20 percentage. So what is the mass by mass percentage of solute here? 20 percentage is there. Okay children. Next another example is given. Let us do that problem also. So in that second example, let us read the question first. 80 ml of solution contains 20 gram of solute. 80 ml of solution contains 20 gram of solute. Calculate the concentration in terms of mass by volume percentage of the solution. So just we can write the data. Mass of solvent is equal to 80 ml. Mass of solvent is equal to, mass of solution. Mass of solution is equal to 80 ml. And next mass of solute. Mass of solute is equal to 20 grams. 20 grams. Mass of solution 80 ml. Mass of solute 20 grams. Calculate the mass by volume percentage. Mass by volume percentage means mass by volume percentage formula. Mass of solute by volume of solution into 100. So then what we will get here? Mass of solute 20 by volume of solution 80 into 100. So directly 20 in 80 4 times. 20 in 80 4 times. And 4 in 100 25 times. So 25 percentage will get. Mass by volume percentage is 25. That is the answer for that. So up to now we have discussed about the mixtures. What is pure substance and mixtures. And mixtures are of two types, homogeneous and heterogeneous mixtures. And the next topic is solutions. In the solutions, solute and solvent are present. What is solute, what is solvent, what is the solution we have discussed, and solubility of the substance, and concentration of the solution, when it will be concentrated, when it will be diluted, that all we have discussed, and the factors affecting the rate of dissolving also we have discussed. In that mainly two formulas, mass by mass percentage, that is mass of solute by mass of solution into 100, and mass by volume percentage, mass of solute by mass of solution in volume of solution into 100. So these are the things what we have discussed in this video. So children, once again you read the textbook part whatever we have completed up to now. You read it, and at the time of watching the video, after watching the video, you can write the given, you can complete the given homework or CW whatever we are giving. So every student should watch the video in your Gurukul app and complete the homeworks given in the WhatsApp. So children, stay well at home, don't go outside anywhere, and keep your concentration on the studies. Thank you.